Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim. Rabbana atina fi dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhab an-nar. This here is the book that I'm currently working on, a translation of a book called Al-Muqaddimah Al-Waghlisiyah fil aqeedah wal fiqh wa tasawwufi. It is a book called Al-Muqaddimah Al-Waghlisiyah that covers the sections of belief, jurisprudence, and purification of the heart. It is written by a scholar by the name of Abu Zayd Abdurrahman Al-Waghlīsīyah Al-Jazairi, who was a Maliki scholar in the year 768 from Algeria. So it's a short text with much benefit, but specifically I wanted to just share with you a short paragraph or a short sentence or two that the author has put here to show the importance of the common man seeking to learn those things that are fard ayn upon him, that are individually obligatory upon him as soon as he becomes legally responsible for carrying out the Sharia, which means anybody who has reached the age of puberty and has a sound mind. So the general tradition of the scholars, whether it is in the Maliki school or the Hanafi school or the Shafi school or the Hanbali school, were to write these very small texts that cover the basics of the pillars of Islam and the basics of the articles of belief for a reason. And this is the passage that I wanted to share with you here, that the author mentions in order to show the importance of the importance and the objective as to why these scholars wrote these books, which will show us the importance of why we should study them as common people and take the responsibility of learning them so that we can practice our religion free from error and false reasoning. So anyways, the author goes on to say at the beginning of his book, وَالْغَرَضُ مِنْ هَذَا إِنَّمَا هُوَ التَّنْبِيهُ وَالْإِمَاءُ وَالْبَحْثُ عَمَّا يَلْزَمُ الْعَبْدَ فَيَنْتَبِهَ وَيَسْأَلَ حَتَّى يَتَحَقَّقَ وَيَسْأَلُ عَمَّا لَا بُدَّ لَهُ مِنْهُ وَيَقِفُ الطَّالِبُ عَلَى مَا يَكْفِيهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. He says that the objective or the reason to why I'm writing this book, إِنَّمَا هُوَ التَّنْبِيهُ, that is to create awareness, وَالْإِمَاءُ, and to be a pointer, وَالْبَحْثُ, and a documentation of what? أَمَّا يَلْزَمُ الْعَبْدَ, in regards to those things that are necessary for the servant to know. And what he's referring to here by the servant is the person who is legally responsible, and we already clarified who that is. So the author here clearly states that he's writing this book in order to create awareness and to be a pointer and to be a means and a documentation for those people who are obligated to know these things that are necessary for a person to practice his deen. فَيَنْتَبِهَا, so that that person will become aware. So one of the first reasons he writes this book is to create awareness. وَيَسْأَلَ حَتَّى يَتَحَقَّقَ, and that he will become وَيَسْأَلَ, he will become inquisitive, that common person will become inquisitive to ask more about matters of his religion that are outside of this book, حَتَّى يَتَحَقَّقَ, until he becomes certain about the practices of his deen. وَيَسْأَلُ عَمَّا لَا بُدَّ لَهُ مِنْهُ, and that he should ask concerning those things that are necessary for him to know. So here the author is telling us something very important. Number one, that learning these small texts and learning these things that are obligatory on the person, the first reason is that a person becomes aware. Because the starting line of recognizing responsibilities that a person becomes aware. So through studying these texts and coming across issues of fiqh and issues of purification and issues of belief, a person now starts to get an understanding as to the types of things that he's now responsible for knowing. So he says, فَيَنْتَبِهَا, So now once a person becomes responsible, for example, he's studying in the chapters of fiqh that such and such a thing is obligatory, then obviously it's going to start coming to his mind, well, what about this? What about this thing that happened to me before? What about that thing that I seen happen before? That's what the author says here. وَيَسْأَلَهُ. See, he's going to start to become inquisitive, because he's going to start asking about those questions that are similar to the issue that he's being taught inside the book of fiqh, but isn't necessarily answering his question directly. So that's one of the objectives of the scholars when they write these basic books, is to create that inquisitiveness in the hearts of the people. حَتَّى يَتَحَقَّقَ. So after they start asking, they will become certain. So they'll start asking, okay, this happens to me every day, what am I supposed to do? So now it starts to create a certainty in them. وَيَسْأَلُ عَمَّا لَا بُدَّ لَهُ مِنْهُ. And that it also creates in him the responsibility to ask about those things that are necessary for him to know, as opposed to assuming. So one of the benefits that a person is going to get from taking the time out of his life to realize the importance of studying the Fard al-Ain is to learn that everything is sound practice is based upon sound reasoning, and sound reasoning is based upon correct education. And these basic texts were written in order to educate the common person to start at the beginning line of realizing that they have a responsibility to know certain things. So, which is in our case the Fard Ain, the things that are obligatory for a person to know. But then he makes another very important a very important point. He says, وَيَقِفُ الطَّالِبُ عَلَى مَا يَكْفِيهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. And that the talib, here he's referring to that the common man, he should suffice with that. What does he mean by he should suffice with that? It means that the common person should concern himself with those things that are necessary for him to know. As opposed to what we see happening very much in our times today, where the common person is concerned about every scholarly debate that he hears, or every scholarly debate or some opinion that he doesn't agree with somebody who's learned, instead of concerning himself with the things that is necessary for him to know. He's more engaged in the scholarly debate, in spite of not even giving the time of day to learn these obligatory basics of his deen that he's obligated to know. So he's telling us here that these are the objectives of studying Fard Ain. So the importance of a common Muslim who's busy working, who doesn't have much time for full-time study, because in reality, scholarship isn't for everybody. Scholarship is something that in general is a small percentage of a population in this society. So the remaining people should constantly occupy themselves in study. Whether you're, for example, in Maliki Fiqh, whether you're studying Ibn Ashur, fine, you finish Ibn Ashur, you study something like Al-Akhdari, fine, when you finish that you study something like Al-Izziyah, or you study something like Al-Muqaddimah Al-Waghlisiyah. You just keep going over these things and you keep learning until that certainty starts to set in, because you start to become familiar with these basic books. And these basic books were written in order to make a person grounded in that Fard Ain. So he's telling us here, rahimahullah, that the objective of the common person should be to busy himself in asking and learning those things in which are necessary for him to know, and that a person should be using these books and these short texts as a medium to get used to, or to get exposed to those things that are obligatory for each individual to know. So inshallah, we should take a lesson from the author here, that we should be engaging in studying these texts, and that we should be engaging in wanting to learn our Fard Ain, and we should be sticking to these formulas that they have set out for us, because these texts are like the starting line to getting in more detail about a person's personal life and personal actions, and how they relate to fiqh and jurisprudence and belief and purification of the heart, inshallah. So I hope inshallah that in January 2014, inshallah, I should have this book published and ready on the market for those who want to benefit from it, inshallah. So we hope to, we ask Allah to give us the tawfiq to be of those people who engage in studying this obligatory knowledge and to take it serious. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.